4 times more fury. Fiery birds on the hunt. A new Ukrainian missile is already deep inside Russia. On the trail of strike beetles, the new Ukrainian kamikaze drone has shocked the world. The Kremlin is in panic. Tens of thousands of drones for Ukraine. The West is launching a technological storm against the Kremlin. I'll tell you all the details in a moment. Hello, this is Ukraine Today. I'm Victoria Panchenko, and here are the latest events. The Russians have a little problem. Ukraine has started actively using the new Flamingo cruise missiles. Apparently, the fiery birds have already struck the energy sector in the swamps. That's according to The Economist. According to the publication, Ukraine is currently producing 2 to 3 Flamingo missiles per day, and it's expected that by the end of the month, production will increase to 7 units per day. This missile, thanks to its extremely powerful warhead, possesses tremendous striking force which greatly frightens the occupiers.
And ordinary Russians are increasingly feeling that the war is coming closer to them.
The missile's warhead weighs 1,150 kilograms, and its range of over 3,000 kilometers makes it possible to destroy almost any target deep within Russian territory that was previously completely inaccessible to Ukrainian weaponry.
If the FP5 proves capable of penetrating Russian air defense systems, it will take Ukraine's deep strike campaign to a new level of destructiveness. The missile's range allows it to evade defenses by flying along constantly changing vectors toward its target.
The missile costs about $500,000. For comparison, the American Tomahawk missile is 4 times more expensive, has a shorter range, and carries a much smaller payload. However, as The Economist points out, it is likely more accurate and harder to shoot down. Almost half of Russian oil refineries have already been hit by drone and missile attacks. As The Economist writes, Ukraine is inflicting deadly damage on Russia's energy infrastructure. The pace of strikes is increasing. Ukrainian drone strikes on oil refineries will soon become a daily occurrence. The Ukrainians are on a roll, noted Lawrence Friedman, Emeritus Professor of War Studies at King's College London, in a comment to the publication.
The Russians have a problem. They can't stop it, and the Ukrainians won't stop. Ukrainian
ballistics has given the world a masterclass. Production of Flamingo missiles has now been put on the assembly line. That's 4 times more fury at once. Russia is not thrilled about this news. Our forces are pushing to the max. This arsenal of domestic weaponry is truly impressive. The stakes are higher than ever. A secret mega weapon is preparing to deliver the final blow. For the first time, Ukraine has lifted the veil. Details coming up in a moment.
At a new level in scale, Ukraine is ramping up the production of cruise missiles. The developers of the Ukrainian Flamingo missile have stated that the company produces 50 missiles per month and plans to reach a daily output of 7 missiles by the end of the year. The company claims that scaling up is made possible by their proprietary wing manufacturing technology, which shortens the production cycle. Let us recall that the Ukrainian missile can fly up to 3,000 kilometers and carry a ton of explosives. In August, the Flamingo struck Russian targets in temporarily occupied Crimea. Early in the morning, 3 missiles were launched from the Ukrainian coast. A base of Russian border guards, controlled by the aggressor's Federal Security Service, was hit. Additionally, the manufacturers of the Flamingo announced the development of their own ballistic missiles, the FP7 and FP9, as well as air defense systems. Thanks to private companies, Ukraine is able to create defense industry innovations and effectively implement them on the battlefield.
The production of Ukrainian ballistic missiles. First and foremost, this is accordingly a modernized version of the Neptune missile. The anti-ship version of Neptune was upgraded to strike land targets, and at the moment, as a result of improved technical and tactical characteristics, according to the developer's assessment, Neptune's strike range is up to 1,000 kilometers. In addition, the equipment of the self-propelled launcher already includes the Sapsan operational tactical complex I mentioned earlier, with a strike range of up to 500 kilometers. Additionally, during the years of war, the self-propelled launchers demonstrated a unique ability to modernize even Soviet-era equipment. This refers to the S-200 surface-to-air missile system.
Also, one of the most important developments has been missile drones such as Palyanitsia, Peklo, Ruta, and Bars.
During the period of the full-scale invasion, Ukraine's defense industry has evolved rapidly in the production of its own strike weapons. And accordingly, let's also mention strike drones. Here, according to Kalag, in other words, this is an official recognition of Ukraine's successes. They hold leading positions in this area.
The armed forces of Ukraine are successfully striking military targets in the Russian Federation. Oil refineries are now in the crosshairs of unmanned systems. Drone attacks have disabled up to 17% of Russia's oil refining capacity. Moreover, Ukraine is actively working on the production of interceptor drones. The Minister of Defense stated that Kyiv will soon reach the capacity to deploy at least 1,000 such UAVs per day to defend against Russian attacks.
They used missiles costing $1.5 million, while at the same time Ukraine is currently scaling up the so-called tactic of drop drones, specifically the use of interceptor drones.
Ukraine is also developing a new air-to-air class air defense system capable of covering large areas. All of this means that Ukrainian developers have demonstrated the ability to create high-precision weaponry capable of destroying important enemy military targets at long range.
Every voice matters. Join our community, support independent journalism and help us bring you the truth from Ukraine. Become a member of Ukraine today. Join us now.
Another major breakthrough in domestic military engineering. Ukraine has developed the Zhuk kamikaze drone, which can strike targets at a distance of over 40 kilometers. The device uses an airplane-type design and is launched from a mobile catapult. The system is equipped with targeting capabilities, and the drone's hardware is updated to counter the emergence of various enemy electronic warfare tools. The warhead of the Zhuk weighs up to 2 kilograms, and the design allows for the installation of different modules, fragmentation, shape charge, and others, depending on the combat mission and order. To increase its operational range, this platform can operate in a relay mode, in tandem with a relay drone. In particular, there is a known case of a target being hit at a distance of 67 kilometers. By the way, Western partners are not sitting idly by either. The US and its allies are launching a technological offensive against the Kremlin. 33,000 megadrones are on the way. A steel flock ready to strike directly at Russia's military might and shatter it to pieces. The Kremlin can't contain its emotions over this. Poland is building a drone wall. The countdown has begun, and Putin is feeling the heat. Ukraine's allies are adding fuel to the fire. It seems a real battle of technologies has ignited. What is ready for deployment and how will it change the situation at the front? Details in a moment.
The US will deliver 33,000 AI-powered drones to Ukraine by the end of 2025. $2 billion will be allocated for this. According to the Financial Times, these autonomous drones were developed by the American-German company Autorion, and they can significantly enhance the combat capabilities of the armed forces of Ukraine. Such drones are resistant to electronic warfare measures and can identify targets in real time. The systems will allow drones to form swarms, where a single operator can control a group of devices, coordinating strikes on enemy positions in real time without external intervention. The technology automatically selects strategies to overcome enemy defenses and responds to new commands or intelligence data. Analysts have been saying for some time that drone swarms controlled by artificial intelligence will be the next breakthrough in warfare and will upend its rules. Ukrainian developers are already actively experimenting with swarms. According to Serhiy Kuprienko, co-founder of the Kyiv-based company Swarmer, this technology has been used in more than 82,000 combat operations.
We are building a system that controls various types of drones. It controls them simultaneously and efficiently, and it does correctly and effectively what is difficult for people to accomplish. In other words, we are not trying to completely replace people. We really want and aim to complement people where artificial intelligence excels.
In 2026, there will be a technology boom, and robots will already be relieving the burden on the infantry. However, they will not replace it. In the war, it will come to the point where combat robots will be fighting each other. This is according to Mykola Zinkevich, call sign Makar, the commander of Ukraine's first unit of strike ground robotic complexes in the 3rd Assault Brigade. Such ground robotic complexes are already being actively used at the front for logistics, evacuation, and assault operations, allowing the armed forces of Ukraine to maintain their defense capability without unnecessary risk to soldiers. Makar said that the implementation of such systems began a year and a half ago. At first, they were used to support the infantry. And now, the brigade has 2 companies equipped with robotic complexes with platoons in each battalion. Ukrainian developments, unlike expensive foreign ones, are adapted to the front thanks to rapid feedback from the military. And there are no analogues in the world in terms of their effectiveness in use. The cost of a foreign medium-capacity logistical robotic complex ranges from $5,000 to $15,000. This is extremely cheap compared to equipment and, above all, priceless human life. The statistics are impressive. In 1 year, a single brigade unit transports 300,000 kilograms of cargo. That's about 800 kilograms per day, which in one night would require 41 infantrymen each carrying 20 kilograms, but with a high risk of casualties. And just 2 unmanned robotic systems with a crew can replace all of them. They are being systematically implemented in brigades like the 93rd, 92nd, or Kartia, where there are designated positions for them. Some units, the serviceman says, ignore technology due to outdated Soviet-era approaches, putting people at risk. The Russians are also mastering ground robotic systems, but the scale remains hidden. According to Zinkevich, development will not reduce the need for people. The infantrymen will remain the foundation, but robots will ease the burden by taking over logistics and evacuation from IFVs or APCs.
I think that 2026 will show us this clearly. Just like it was with unmanned aerial vehicles, and as it is happening now. When there is already a war in the sky between drones, with some drones trying to shoot down others. The same thing will happen on the ground. I think that by 2026 it will come to the point where foreign robotic systems will be engaging in clashes with each other. And not just in skirmishes with infantry, but with one another as well.
2 years ago, more than 2 years ago, 2.5 actually, I saw it, and at that time I said, give me 20 of these and I'll storm Donetsk. Well, how would I get into the center of Donetsk? 20 ground drones at that time, 2.5 years ago, based on what I saw in the ground drone and its capabilities. A year ago, I said I needed 150 drones. And I would enter Donetsk. 2 years ago with ground drones, I needed 20. A year ago, I needed 150. And now I need roughly 2,000 to 2,500 ground drones, and I will enter Donetsk.
Meanwhile, Europe is turning to Ukraine for technologies to create a drone wall against Russia. For such a wall along the eastern borders, the European Union is rushing to spend billions of euros using combat technologies tested in Ukraine after recent incursions of Russian drones into NATO airspace. This is reported by the Financial Times. NATO relies on expensive fighter jets and missiles to intercept cheap drones. To fill this gap, Brussels has called on the capitals of member states to use EU funds for joint procurement of systems that have proven their effectiveness in Ukraine. In particular, acoustic sensors for detecting Shaheds by their sound signature, since standard radars cannot cope with low-flying targets. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen emphasized the creation of a drone alliance with Kyiv. This was backed by a 6 billion euros loan from the proceeds of frozen Russian assets. We're talking about 2.5 to 3 billion euros annually to turn Ukrainian ingenuity into an advantage on the battlefield and to foster joint industrialization. Ukraine currently produces up to 4 million drones per year and plans to double that amount. So they will share this with Hugo through the Brave Tech platform, where European and Ukrainian startups will test technologies on the front lines.
And what do you think about domestic military innovations? We look forward to your comments. Stay tuned for more, keep up with the main news, and hit the like button under the video. Wishing you peaceful skies above.